Hello, fight fans. Micah Fights with Friends here to talk about the payrolls from UFC Sacramento. If you like what I do here, please hit that like button. If you'd like to follow independent MMA media before we are wiped out, please give me a follow. Make sure and hit that bell so you're notified whenever I go live or post a new video. I was not able to stream this card and watch the whole thing, but some people from Sacramento ended up with, I would say, a sack full of cash, mind you. So I thought, I want to go through this. We haven't talked about UFC Pay in quite some time, so I think now is as good a time as any. So let's do it. Let's start with the first fight of the night here. Benito Lopez. $24,000. That includes a $12,000 win bonus. Vince Morales bringing in $14,000. This is the bottom of the card. Obviously, this is a very, very small amount of money for all the training and everything that these guys are doing. Keep in mind, there is a small Reebok bonus on top of that. Very little, though, for these guys. I want to say it's like $3,500 or something. So they have a ways to come as far as those guys. Next bout, not a whole lot better. Breanna Van Buren brings home $24,000. That's with her $12,000 win bonus. She defeated Lorena Sosa by unanimous decision. Next fight of the night, Jonathan Martinez versus Yan Liu. And Jonathan Martinez was not happy with his $14,000 take-home and win bonus. So he said, I'm going to bust you up for another 50 G's on the side. And he takes it home, whopping $78,000. Plus add that Reebok bonus, well over $80,000 for a guy very young in his career. That is a good payday right now. Hopefully it's not a good payday forever in the UFC. But then we go into one which I thought was very strange that this fight was so early in the card. I did end up watching this fight because I bet on this fight. I took Ryan Hall. I got him on even. For a couple $100. I doubled up on that, and I was very happy. Gets a decision over Darren Elkins. I was surprised that his base pay was only $35,000, and that Elkins was $62,000. But with his win bonus, he ends up bringing home $70,000 plus, like I said, Reebok bonuses and things like that. Then into the women's. You got Juliana Pena and Nico Montano. Juliana Pena, at least on the odds makers, pulls off the upset. I was not surprised by it. I thought Pena would win that fight. I picked her to win it. She won it by unanimous decision. Pulls home, a respectable, very respectable $80,000. Andre Fili, I really wasn't sure what to think coming into this fight. I was surprised to see Fili as much of an underdog as he was, but I hadn't seen him fight in a while. He does well for himself. Shaman Moraes, too bad for him. He ate that right hook and that ground and pound all for $21,000. But Andre Fili takes home the 40 to show, the 40 to win, the 50 bonus. That's 130 G's right there. Then he's been around for a while with the Reebok bonus, so I want to say he probably gets somewhere in 20,000 for that. So Andre Fili, hasn't seen him in a while, but he clears about 150 G's. Great payday for him. Very happy for him. Then let's go on to John Allen versus Mike Rodriguez. I was a little befuddled as to why this was later in the card than the last few fights, especially being John Allen Art had a base pay of 12 G's, and Mike Rodriguez not a whole lot better. Comes home with 20,000, but John Allen gets the victory. Hopefully that means a little better pay down the road. And like I said, they'll get 4,000 or 5,000, whatever, for Reebok bonuses. It's not a lot though at that level. Martin Vettori versus Cesar Ferreira. Cesar Ferreira gets 45 G's just for showing up, plus a little bit of bonus. Not bad for him. Marvin Vettori, good thing he got the bonus, because even though he's this late on the card, he would be starving Marvin Vettori if he had not gotten that extra $20,000. And luckily for him, he did add the Reebok money to that, and hopefully he's close to 50 G's for his efforts. Let's go on to Roberson versus Turman. Going to the light heavyweights, Carl Roberson wins a split decision here against Wellington Turman. I don't think that fight was expected to be that close. Turman takes home just $12,000 again. I mean, this is getting right into the main card. This is right on the cusp of the main card. Taking home just 12 G's. Carl Roberson taking home 50, including his 25 to win, though. So, a little over 50, maybe close to 60 with the Reebok deal. Then we head into a fight that I was highly anticipating. A lot of people were. Josh Emmett versus Mirsad Bektic. I'm happy for Josh Emmett. I called this one wrong. I will admit it. I didn't do a whole lot of research on it, but I called Bektic in this one. I was incorrect. Luckily for Josh Emmett, who got 49 to show, 49 to win, and with his Reebok bonus puts him well over the 100 G mark. Mirsad Bektic ends up with $38,000 for his effort. And I really thought that he was higher up on the pay scale by this point than $38,000. But because that's your co-feature. You only got 2 more fights left after this. You have your, they've been calling it the main, the co-main, and then the feature bout. So we go into what's considered the co-main. And of course, this is only the co-main because they didn't want to put this 40-year-old man into a 5-round fight right out of the gate. Uriah Faber comes back, surprises the hell out of me, and takes out Ricky Simon. I really thought Ricky Simon was going to get this one, but look what he gets. Get 23 grand. 23 grand for being in the co-main event. Not a lot of money. Ricky Simon maybe 30 G's after the Reebok bonus and everything. And he was a huge favorite, 4-1 favorite against Uriah Faber, who brings in 170 to show, 170 to win, 50 G's for the bonus. That puts him up to 390. The Reebok bonus putting him well over $400,000. And he has redone his, I heard he redone his house. I heard everything's covered in money right now. No, that's over 400 G's for not coming back, especially after you haven't fought in several years. Hey, good for him. I like Uriah Faber. I was surprised he got the win, but very happily surprised. And that's when now we're going to go to our main event of the evening. You had Aspen Lab taking home just $35,000 to be in the main card. I was very surprised by this. I know that the women were getting paid quite a bit less. If there's a pay gap in the world that exists, it's not imaginary in the UFC. 35 G's to be in the main event. Germaine De Randamie, despite an insane amount of experience in kickboxing and MMA, and being a former champion Get just 45 to show, 45 to win. I think it would be a lot more if she had not relinquished her belt while she was running from Cyborg years back. I really think that had a lot to do with it because Holly Holm makes a lot more being a former champion. She did well for herself, though. I mean, she only had to work for 16 seconds. And with that win bonus and the Reebok bonus, she gets somewhere around 160 G's. So that's about $10,000 a second. Not bad for her. Aspen Lab, as small as that paycheck is for the amount of time she spent in the cage, she had a little more than $2,000 a second. Not a whole lot of things you can do to make, a couple $1,000s a second. One of them apparently is to get knocked out by Germaine De Randamie. I want to know what you guys think, though. Do you see improvements in the pay in UFC? Do you think the ESPN deal is good for the fighters? Remember, this is not a pay-per-view. This is, and it's not a big ESPN card. This is an ESPN Plus card. So I will cut them a little bit of slack on that because there are a lot of these ESPN Plus cards this year. Sacramento, the tickets aren't as expensive as a lot of places. I've spent some time in Sacramento. For anybody who has, it's a decent town. I'm not gonna talk smack about it or anything, but it's definitely a working class town. It's not a wealthy town, so the tickets are gonna be substantially less than, say, Las Vegas or Los Angeles or even Seattle. But let me know what you think. Did anything surprise you by some of these pays? And don't forget, next week we got big ESPN, and that is a big card. Very, very big card. Rafael Dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards. There are much better fights, in my opinion, than the main event on that card, though. I cannot wait, and I will be calling it for you guys. Either on here, on Fights of Friends, or if I'm not reinstated by that time, of course, on my alternate channel of Mike Reviews It All. Until next time, as always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.